Hey guys, back with another impressions video, and it is for Bravely Default. Now, a lot of people are probably surprised I got through this game so fast. I know a lot of people are still kind of working their way through this game, and this is a beast of a game, but I was really addicted to this, and I had a lot of free time lately, so basically any free time I had, I was playing this sucker, and this is a great game. I'll talk about, this might be a long video because there's a lot I have to say about this game. I didn't get the collector's edition, as you see. I just got the regular edition here. I don't know, the collector's edition, I don't know, I'm with collector's editions, I don't really feel like buying them really anymore. I used to be kind of into them. Now it's like I don't really have the space for them, and in a lot of cases, it's like an extra 30 to 50 bucks more, and I'd rather kind of spend that money on another game, put that money towards another game. So, like, even Dark Souls 2, I'm really looking forward to that game. It's probably going to be my game of the year. I'm still just getting the regular edition of that game, and I did just go with this regular edition of Bravely Default, which, by the way, you can see that logo there. Plays only in French and English there. Like, the Canadian copies of, like, Nintendo games have that on Nintendo 3DS games. It's just a really big eyesore. A lot of collectors would probably be really pissed off at that stuff. But I don't know, the Canadian games, you have to have that, with Quebec. But yeah, Bravely Default, great game. I have some issues with it, and it's one of those games where it starts off amazing, and it's consistent for such a long time, and then it kind of takes a nosedive in quality towards the end. There's 8 chapters in this game. This game is set up in 8 chapters. Chapters 1 to 4 are brilliant. At the time I was playing this game, for those first 4 chapters, this was like holding steady as probably my favorite RPG on the 3DS. Chapters 5, 6, and 7, though, were a big disappointment, and that's where the game gets not so great. I'll talk about that a bit later. No spoilers. This is a spoiler-free review, so you don't have to worry about that. But Chapter 8 the game redeems itself with the ending. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but yeah, it's a weird kind of thing where it starts off strong, then gets weak, and then ends off strong. But anyways, I'll start off with the story here in Bravely Default. The story, basically, there's 4 characters in this game, no more than that, and there's not really a main protagonist in this game. At least I don't think there really is. I mean, the main character, some people would say, is Tiz. I don't know, they all kind of felt like main characters to me, but basically you start off as Tiz and you wake up in an inn and you don't know what happened. It turns out your village of Norende got swallowed up by a great chasm, and your little brother died, and that's how this game starts off. You eventually end up meeting a wind vestal named Agnes, this woman named Agnes, and it comes to you basically from there you kind of you figure out, oh, we gotta search this world for these 4 crystals that are all taken care of by these vestals. The wind crystal by the wind vestal, fire crystal by the fire vestal, and you got to awaken these crystals to kind of close this chasm. And along the way, you're being countered by these Eterian knights and this great council of 6. And one of your party members, Edea, her father is actually like the leader of these guys, and he's your like main antagonist. So they're trying to put a stop to you. They think they don't want you awakening these crystals. So that's the general story. It's kind of a save the world type storyline, but it gets real interesting at the very end. I'll say this, like, the storyline, I wasn't, like, for a long time, I thought it was just okay. As a lot of, like, kind of typical things you see in a lot of JRPG storylines. And I don't know, I just didn't find it particularly interesting for the longest time. And in chapters 5, 6, and 7, in my opinion, the story just falls apart. And a lot of that is due to the writing and what some of these characters do, the main characters, and how they think and react to the situations that go on. It's baffling. And then the ending comes around and changes it completely. The ending in this game is amazing. There's 2 endings, a normal ending and a true ending. I really recommend going for the true ending. Now, the true ending is easier to get. In fact, I kind of find it hard to believe that anyone would get the normal ending on their first try. I don't know, the game kind of leads you towards the true end more so than the normal end. And the true end is the ending that's amazing. It is absolutely awesome. Don't want to spoil anything, but definitely get that true ending. It redeemed the game's storyline, I should say, in ways that I really appreciated. But on the whole, I have to say the storyline overall is good. It's not amazing because of the slow start and uninteresting like first chapters. How the storyline gets basically awful towards the end, but then that ending makes it all worthwhile. The characters, we've got Tiz, like I mentioned, which is he's kind of your normal, hero protagonist. He's very strong and wants to help people all the time. He's not. I like him. I like his his motives and how he's wants to help all these characters and wants to help out everybody and save the world. He's kind of maybe the more bland of the four characters, but I liked him. Then you have Agnes. She is annoying, I thought, for pretty much the entire game. She basically never wants help from anyone and wants to do everything on her own, and she's just, I don't know, her reactions to a lot of the game's moments I find very baffling. A part of what makes her annoying is, admittedly, like the dialogue and writing they gave to her. And I don't know, she's got like this kind of, I don't know, like attitude like that she's better than everybody else. I don't know, it really irked me. And then you have the voice acting for her, which I'll talk about the voice acting right now. It's very good, actually. The voice acting on the whole is really good. It's really effective. The 3DS, the sound quality is not the greatest on the 3DS, so the voice acting sounds maybe a bit, I don't know, it doesn't sound all that great, but the voice acting itself is quite good, with the exception of Agnes. The voice actor just decided to give her like this really over dramatic tone to everything she says, even things that aren't that really shouldn't be that dramatic. She says it in a way that is just, it's annoying. It's really off-putting too. To hear the voice acting be so dramatic that it's like, I don't know, it really bothered me. But the voice acting for the other characters was great. Speaking of the other characters, you have Ring-a-Bell, which is kind of the comic relief character. When you find him, he has no memory of who he is. We've got that trope. But the reason why he has no memory, once you finally figure out why he has no memory, and when he gets his memory back, it's really cool. But it sucks they kind of have to go back to this kind of cliched thing. But he's a great character because his writing is really funny. He's kind of like the ladies' man. He's always trying to get the ladies. Just a really funny, charming character. I really enjoyed him. And then you have Edea, which is my favorite character in the game. She's awesome. She's like very like outgoing and funny too. She's got a lot of humorous writing. She's a very strong character. She's kind of against her father too, right? Because she joins your party and she's kind of at odds with her father's her father's motives and things like that. But I don't know, she's just a really fascinating character. Anytime she talked or anytime she was like the focal point of the story at any given moment, I was really fascinated by that. I really enjoy her character. Definitely the standout character in this game, I thought. But yeah, so overall the characters I really like. I like a lot of the side characters too. The villains are all really interesting. There's some funny ones too there. So yeah, the characters I really like. Actually, probably more so than the storyline itself. But basically, yeah, storyline, characters, and Bravely Default, really good. I really enjoyed it, despite some inconsistencies all over the place, kind of, and especially towards the end. Visually, it's a great looking game. I really like the art style in this game. It's got like almost like a hand-drawn look to it, and the towns, like, if you stay still in these towns, it'll kind of zoom out really slowly, and then you get like the whole view of the town. A lot of these towns look really nice. There's a lot of good environment variety in this game. The world map is beautiful, and it's not too huge, but it's big enough for my liking. At least there is a world map. We get a world map. I always like the world maps, and the world map here is really great. Yeah, visually, it's just a really good game visually, and it has a really striking art style that I really liked. A lot of cool boss designs, the character designs I really like. Although I'm not too big on the faces. Like, I don't know, like all the characters have like really small eyes and mouths, and I don't know, like you didn't get like a huge amount of facial expressions from them. I don't know, the faces I thought were kind of weird on the characters, but other than that, I thought, visually this was a really nice looking game. Music, I heard a lot of people say that the music is really amazing in this game. I don't know. Personally, I thought it was kind of, I don't know. It's good. It's all right. None of the songs really stood out to me though. None of it's bad. It just kind of, and it fits the game, certainly. But I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't grab me like I did for a lot of people, I guess. And it's repetitive. Like a lot of the same songs play over and over again here. Like the soundtrack is pretty limited overall, I'd say. So maybe that's why I didn't. I wasn't too fond of too many of the songs because I just heard them over and over and over again. Now the battle themes I do like, especially with the special moves, the songs that play when you use special moves. Those I really liked. But I don't know, the soundtrack on the whole, good. I wasn't really blown away by it though. Okay, gameplay. Here's where the game is at its best and why overall I think this is a great RPG. And there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to this game. Let's go over the kind of flow of the game. It is kind of your standard JRPG in the sense that almost right off the bat, actually, compared to a lot of RPGs, you get your airship and you can travel across the whole world map almost right away. You've got kind of waypoint markers on the map. The map's on the bottom screen, which I love. I gotta go over that. Like, the map in this game is amazing because the dungeons, everything's all like shown to you. Like, the pathways kind of form as you're walking different directions. You can easily track where you are in these dungeons because of these maps on the bottom screen. I really like that. But there's kind of waypoints that kind of lead you in the right direction. Orange kind of exclamation points on the map for your main quest. And then you get blue ones, which are your side quests, which will give you jobs for the job system, which I'll talk about the battle system soon. So it kind of flows like your normal RPG, just going from town to town, dungeon to dungeon. This game really evokes a classic RPG feel, like a classic Final Fantasy game. It really did feel like a Final Fantasy game from like the Super Nintendo era, this game. And it's much more of a Final Fantasy game than these later ones, like the Final Fantasy 13 games, for instance. Which I do find that funny. Like, this game came out, and Lightning Returns came out not too long after this, and that game's getting trashed in the reviews, yet Bravely Default, like, everybody's loving this game. I just find that really funny. So yeah, the flow is nice. The pacing is nice. Okay, actually, the pacing is good for the first 4 chapters. Chapters 5, 6, and 7 is where the pacing really drags. I'll talk about that a bit later. So yeah, there's not too many side quests, but they're really rewarding because they give a lot of backstory, especially with like the villain characters. But most importantly, you're going to want to do these side quests because they give you jobs. It's very rewarding to do them. So every time you see like a blue exclamation point on the map, I was just like, gotta do it, gotta do it. Screw the main quest, gotta get a new job. It's really fun getting those new jobs. But yeah, basically it's like normal JRPG stuff where your towns, you've got your shops, your inns, and things like that. What I love, actually, it's a small detail, but I really appreciated it, where when you go into these towns and go into a weapon shop, like, you don't go, it's not like a loading screen and then you find yourself in the weapon shop and then you got to go to the counter and talk to the shopkeeper. You just press A on like the door of the weapon shop and immediately your weapons come up and you can buy and sell weapons. It's a minor detail, but I love how quick that was. Like, I never felt like I was in menus too long as far as buying weapons and stuff. And the inventory system in this game is really accessible, really clean, looks nice, really great there. Actually, visuals, I forgot to mention the 3D effect. It's all right. I don't know, I turned it off after like an hour. It just didn't, I don't know, it didn't really enhance the game in any way, like some other 3DS games. And I usually play my 3DS games with the 3D turned on like all the way, but this game I did turn it off. So yeah, the battle system. Let's talk about the battle system here. It's basically your normal turn-based traditional battle system, like an old school Final Fantasy. You've got your attack, your kind of magic spells and things like that, but the main hook with this game is the Brave and Default systems. Brave system, what that does is you press the Brave button, right, and you'll get an extra attack. But you'll lose a Brave point. Each character starts off at 0 in a battle. So you'll go to -1 if you use Brave once. And you can use Brave up to 4 times. So you can attack 4 times, but you'll go into -4. And you can use like magic attacks too. It's not just standard attacks. You can use like any kind of attack with your Brave point. However, if you do this, you'll be at -4, and what that means is your enemies can get 4 extra attacks on that character. And it's like that risk reward system, right? And to get these points up, like, you can basically start off 0 points, right? And you can go into -4 right off the bat in a battle, but you're going to want to use your default, which basically gives you a BP point. And you can get up to 3. So, like, I found a good strategy for bosses was to, like, save up the default points. So have all your characters default right away, and they'll go into kind of a defensive stance where you'll take less damage. So I basically defaulted all my characters to 3, and then immediately they can use like 3 brave points, right? And they'll go to 0 instead of -4, so your enemies won't get like a ton of extra attacks on you. So this system, it adds this great risk and reward system to like the battles. Now, I did find it made like regular encounters easy a lot of the times, in the sense that a lot of times all I had to do was like get into a battle, immediately set all my guys to brave ×4, you know, put out all my best attacks, and I'd wipe out the enemies basically without them getting a chance to attack me. Now, sometimes enemies can get a first strike. Enemies can also have brave and default points as well, and sometimes they'll get bonuses added at the beginning of a battle. Sometimes you'll get some bonuses. So the battle system is interesting in that way, but that's not all. What else can you do? You have special moves. Now these kind of tie into the social elements of this game, which is where I really love this game, and like the social elements of this game are amazing. Basically you can well, special points don't do that, but I'll mention the summon friends. Basically, the friends that you're playing this game that you've got registered on your 3DS, you can use their attacks. Like, say you pull off a really strong attack. Like, before you attack, you can send your attack, right? So say you send your attack and then you attack, and you do like tons of damage with that attack. It will send it into like this online server, I guess. And one of your friends that's playing Bravely Default, they can use a summon friend option, so they can go through their list of friends and see your attack, and if it did like a ton of damage, they can use that as an attack. Now, you can only use their attacks, I think, once per day, so like once every 24 hours, and you got to keep updating to get your attacks sent out there. But I think that's a really cool system. You can abuse it pretty easily. Like, I've had friends attacks, and you can get like random friends online. You don't have to have like friends registered on 3DS, because every 24 hours you'll get random friends attacks, like from the internet, like we're just random strangers. But I did find you can really be kind of cheap with these, because later in the game I was getting like attacks of like 40,000 damage plus from random people online. So you can really destroy bosses really easily with those. But it was always fun to see what attacks my friends were putting out there. Like Steven, the leg gamer, like he was a lot farther along than me when I first started playing it, and his attack just looked so insane. And I killed like a boss in one hit right near the beginning of the game with his summon friend ability, and I was like, wow, this seems pretty cheap. But then you can only use it once every 24 hours. But then it started to become cheap later in the game when I had so many of these in my summon friends menu, and they just did so much damage. Special attacks, basically, you know, they're kind of your special attacks. They can add bonuses, right? Like physical attack up 150% for all your party members. But what happens when you use these special attacks is that a different kind of music will start playing, and as long as this music keeps playing, and it can play for about maybe like a minute or so, all your party members have that added bonus, like the physical attack up. So if you use another special attack while the song is playing, you can get other bonuses, and they can stack. So there's another cool system, and these special attacks look really great. Like, there's cutscenes for each of these special attacks. They go along with your weapons. Like, each weapon type can have like 3 different special attacks. And you can add different effects to them too, like, you know, like power boost of 50% or cures poison when you use this special attack. So there's a lot of customization there. How you add these abilities to your special attacks is through the Norende Village component of the game, which is another social element part. Basically, you're rebuilding this village, right? And you can rebuild shops and special ability shops where you can, you know, unlock new special abilities for your special attacks. And you have villagers that will kind of build these little shops in your village, and you get these villagers. You get a few every 24 hours, you know, and it basically say you put all your villagers to upgrading a certain shop to like level 2 to level 3, and a lot of these shops can have like new weapons for you to buy or new armor for you to buy. There'll be like a timer, like it might take an hour for your villagers to build this shop, and this is real time. So while you're playing the game, these shops are getting built, and you can like have your villagers building different shops. And that's not all in this village. This village component is really addictive and really cool, but you can have nemesis enemies sent to this village from other players, and they can be like different levels, and you can have your party go out and fight them, and you can have, you know, there's all these little different things. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's definitely a lot more social elements to see in this game, and it's just really cool how a lot of this game is so social with your friends and stuff, and it's really cool to see that kind of stuff. Another part of the battle system is like the sleep points, which is one of my few gripes with the gameplay. Basically, if you leave your 3DS in sleep mode, you get sleep points, and you can use this to stop time in the middle of a battle and have one of your characters attack, and they can even do their brave and default type things. And this basically increases like damage. It basically makes you like a badass when you use these sleep points. Unfortunately, though, the problem I have with this system is how you get these points. The only way to get points is to leave your 3DS in sleep mode or to buy them with microtransactions, which I'm not big on that because I don't know. You know, it's a bit skeezy, and especially in the sense that using your sleep points is the only way to make your attacks do more than 9,999 damage. Your damage is capped. You can never do more damage than that unless you use your sleep points. And that's the way you do major damage. So the fact that you can just spend real money and be able to do like insane damage like that constantly over and over again, I don't know, that felt a bit dirty to me. I don't know, I'm not a fan of that. But other than that, this battle system is just a whole lot of fun, and I didn't even mention the best part of it, the job system. But yeah, each character can have their own job, and this gives you tons of different abilities, and each job is completely different from the next. You know, you might have the knight job, which is like focuses on buffing your characters with like physical attack and defense boosts. You might have your white mage, your black mage. This is the kind of a system that's been used in other games before, like Final Fantasy V, which I played recently. But in this game, it's so easy to grind jobs. And they level up really fast, and I just found there was a lot more customization here. You can basically have a character be like a white mage, for instance, and you can level them up to like level 5 or whatever, and they get new abilities, and you might change them to another job for a while, and they'll get support abilities. So if you change back to the white mage, you can use that other job's abilities as like, like you can kind of like do hybrid jobs. So you can have like a white mage that uses a black mage's abilities, and there's just so much customization there. Each job can be leveled up to 14. That's the mastery point. You have normal level ups as well, of course. Each battle will give you like job points and experience points. And it's really fun to try out these new abilities. You can also do this other cool social ability thing where you kind of link your friends with your certain characters, and they can get abilities based on what your friends are using, like what jobs they're using, which is really, really cool. You can also in terms of social stuff, there's street pass features in this game. Of course, for me, I live in a small town. I never get street passes. I don't think I've ever got a single street pass since I bought my 3DS. So that's kind of useless for me, but luckily they'll give you, like I said before, once every 24 hours you'll get some random people from the internet, which is nice. But yeah, this job system's really fun. There's a lot of different jobs, a lot of experimentation there. Each job has like is better with certain weapons, like ranks, like I think from like E all the way up to S. So like the ranger class is really good with bows, and they have like an S rank for bows. But there's, like I said before, there's also these support abilities where every time you awaken a crystal, you get more support points. Where you kind of each job has their own little support abilities, and you can equip these abilities to each of your characters. Like, honestly, there's so much stuff I could talk about here. I'm not going to go real in extreme depth with this job system, but it's just insane the amount of customization and experimentation you get with this game. Like, and it's never boring. It's always fun. Now, I guess one thing is this game. It's pretty difficult. I gotta say, I struggled to get through a lot of this game, especially towards the end. And I played on the normal mode. I was tempted to go to easy mode a lot in this game. It's one of those games where I don't know how you could get through without a healer. I know there's probably a million ways you can break this game and make it ridiculously easy. I personally, I'll gotta admit, I'm not the greatest with job systems. They're really fun, but I'm really not that good with them. So maybe that's why I struggled a lot. But if I didn't have my white mage up to level 14 at the end, honestly, I don't know if I would have got through this game. I just always needed my white mage to cast healing and get rid of status, status effects. Like, status effects are brutal in this game. But yeah, some of the bosses towards the end, like there's a lot of boss battles in this game, and there's a lot of tough ones. Normal enemies I didn't find were too bad in this game. There's easy mode, normal mode, and hard mode. I don't even want to think what hard mode would be like. Another thing I want to mention with this game, just like how many options there are. You can turn off job points. You can turn off getting experience points. You can go through this entire game level 1. Random encounters are in this game, but you can change the rate. You can have like random encounters happen every second, or you can turn them off completely, which is a godsend, especially in the later parts of the game. So I found a good thing to do through these dungeons was to go through them once, fighting every enemy. Once I reach the boss, usually there's a save point. In fact, there's always a save point right before the boss. Save at the boss, then teleport out, turn off random encounters, go through the dungeon again, have all my guys full health, full everything, save before the boss, fight the boss. And going through like with that pattern, it's such a painless game. Anytime I was frustrated for random counters, it's like, or frustrated getting through a dungeon or whatever, it's like, oh, I can just turn them off to get through this annoying section. It's just all these different features that are added in, like, I don't know if you want to call them accessibility features. I guess you can call them that, but it's just, you can cater the game to your liking. If it's too hard, you can make it easy for yourself. If it's too easy, you can make it hard for yourself. It's fantastic. I've heard the Japanese version didn't have this kind of thing, and oh my god, the Japanese version, if I'm like, it'd be awful. Because okay, let's talk about chapters 5, 6, and 7. Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything here. Basically, the problem I had with these chapters is, for one thing, the storyline. It takes an interesting turn, but it makes the gameplay a slog. This game becomes a total chore in these chapters, and a lot of the same assets are used over and over again. It gets very tedious. I kind of dreaded this game, actually, in these moments of the game. And this is when the difficulty gets insane, and that added a lot to my frustration as well. It's, I can't talk about it too much because it is going into spoiler territory, but it's not great. It's not good, and it's disappointing that it takes such a nosedive in quality at these chapters, considering the first 4 chapters were amazing. And I mean, the battle system is still really good through these chapters. The job system is still engaging, but I don't know. It's definitely the weakest part of the game, these chapters. But yeah, and turning off the encounter rate definitely made it more. It made it better. The dungeons themselves, they're pretty basic. It's just point A to point B type dungeons. They're not very maze-like. There's no real puzzles for you to solve. I liked them this way, though, and I liked that map at the bottom. It just made them really easy to get through. And they're pretty short as well, but honestly, I like the dungeons in this game. Yeah, they're basic, but they're, it's better than having tedious puzzles thrown in there. Thrown in those dungeons. So I actually really did enjoy the dungeons. But yeah, I think that's about it with Bravely Default. I'm sure I'm missing a lot with this game. I mean, I'd love to do a kind of a spoiler chat or something with people about this game. But yeah, tell me what jobs you used. What jobs are your favorites? My party towards the end, the party I rolled with actually for quite a long time at the end, the jobs I mastered and really found myself loving. I guess though you really got to do the combinations. Ninja and Spellfencer combined, like a hybrid class with those 2 jobs, I thought was amazing, really good. Having both of those jobs mastered as a hybrid class really did a lot of damage. The sword magic I really love. And then Ninja gets so many extra hits and has a lot of really cool abilities. I had my White Mage Spirit Master combo, which again, that really helped with like the healing and status effects in this game. I had the Ranger, which I kind of experimented with different jobs in terms of the hybrid, but the Ranger itself as a job is a powerhouse, man. From the beginning of the game all the way to the end, just the damage the Ranger does is insane. And then I had a Black Mage Arcanist, which is the only jobs, like that character, Adia, she was using those two jobs. She's the character that I kept messing with. I never really did get a good hybrid with her. Like, the Black Mage and Arcanist was pretty good. Not as powerful as I thought, though, and I'm sure that's just because I'm bad at the job system, but I don't know, she was always the character I was just messing around with different jobs at. But yeah, what jobs did you guys use? Which ones are your favorites? There's a lot of jobs, too, I didn't mess around with. Like, I didn't level up all my jobs to the highest level. I didn't do all the side quests in this game. Although, like, some of them add a lot of story, but I didn't find I really cared to get the little tidbits of story. There is one class, the final class. I'm not going to spoil it. It's like a secret class, or a secret job rather. Go for that one. If you definitely go for the secret job, because it gives a lot of backstory. A lot of backstory that's pretty necessary, I'd say. And actually, what I said before too, with chapters 5 and 6 and 7, another reason why I didn't like it so much was the story and the characters, how they react to certain things, and how stupid they are. Like, their stupidity is downright insane. In these 3 chapters, it's infuriating. I really want to talk to people about the storyline in this game, because it's infuriating, but at the same time amazing because of that ending. But yeah, overall, Bravely Default is a great JRPG, and it will definitely bring you back to that old school Final Fantasy feel. It's definitely has its issues, and I'm definitely excited for Bravely Second, because I'm hoping it will fix any complaint I had with this game. I think that game will be a masterpiece. So yeah, in terms of 3DS RPGs, Shin Megami Tensei 4 is still my favorite. I don't know if it will be beaten. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Bravely Default took me 60 hours to beat. This game is huge. Like, I was not expecting a 60-hour game when I started this. Like, it's massive. But overall, really great. What am I playing right now? We've got a little ways until South Park: The Stick of Truth comes out March 4th. I'm very excited for that. I was a bit hesitant on it at first because I don't know, I was just kind of waiting for reviews, because I still kind of felt it could be bad, but they released a 13-minute gameplay video. It's like the first 13 minutes of the game, and it sold me on that game. Like, that game looks hilarious. The battle system's like Paper Mario, which I love. That game's going to be great. Problem with that game, though, I have to beat it in a week, because Dark Souls 2 comes out on, I think, the 14th or the 11th, like a week after Stick of Truth. And I have to beat it in a week, because Dark Souls, seriously, I'm going to be dead to the world once I start playing that game. Like, it's just, nothing else is going to matter. Everything's going to be put down. I'm not going to do anything but play Dark Souls 2, and it's, honestly, I'm going to be playing that game for months. Like, games are going to completely go by me at that point, but and South Park, I just don't, it's not going to happen in a week. It's just not. Like, that seems impossible. I could take some days off of work, I guess, and I do only have a part-time job, so maybe I can get it done. I don't know, but until then, I actually started playing Soul Blazer on the Super Nintendo. I don't know, always a game I wanted to play, because I actually am going to be doing a top 20 Super Nintendo games video very soon. It's going to take a bit of work doing that, so I wanted to kind of get through the Super Nintendo games I had left that I've really wanted to play and see what they're all about. Which there's not too many, but Soul Blazer is one of those games. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think I'm going to do an impressions video on it or anything. I might. We'll see. Other than that, I'm thinking 3D Game Heroes on the PS3 I might give a try. I don't know. I need a few games to hold me over until South Park. But anyways, that's about it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.